Hey guys, this is Danny, and welcome back to another episode of the Swim Good podcast. Tonight, we're going to take a deep dive into the relationship between Issa and Molly. Let's talk about it. So, there's a theory going around online that when Issa gets a win, Molly starts a fight. When friendships end or experience a hiccup, it's usually because there are unmet and unspoken expectations, and often unfair boxes that we put people in. Molly believes that Issa cannot commit to anything, leaving her miserable job for one, or the relationship when she was unhappy with Lawrence. Issa believes nothing is ever good enough for Molly. She finds fault with every man she dates, and often with situations Molly herself is not a part of. Molly judges everything and everyone. Let's take it back to the beginning. In season 1, Issa raps the infamous Broken P freestyle, pissing Molly off in the process after dragging her out to an open mic to secretly catch up with Daniel. Later in the season, Molly attempts to get Daniel to leave the We Got Y'all fundraiser. She's rude to guests that Issa has to work with. And at the end of that episode, they get into a fight after the fundraiser, with Molly saying Issa is messy and doesn't even deserve Lawrence. And Molly is pissed off because Issa suggests therapy for her. Later that season, Molly drives Issa back home early from Kelly's birthday trip in Malibu to work it out with Lawrence. After she discovered he moved out, Molly consoles Issa. In season 2, our girl Molly goes to Lawrence's job to see if he will ever take Issa back. This helps Issa realize she needs to move on. Molly organizes an at-home Moroccan vacation later in the season after Issa moves out of the place she shared with Lawrence. In that moment, Molly was a true friend. In season 3, Issa encourages Molly to give Andrew a real shot after Coachella. Molly admits being in a selfish space and not always assuming the best in people. Later, Issa asked Molly to roll to Andrew's house so she could look around for Nathan when Molly and Andrew were on thin ice. And after a month of ghosting, Nathan returns and Molly sends a flower-wielding Nathan away on Issa's birthday without letting Issa know, resulting in Issa saying, "I don't cancel people left and right. You assume the worst in everybody." And this season, Molly invites Andrew to Issa's sponsorship event. She tells Issa that he works at Live Nation, and Issa now knows important people too. Yes, Molly only knows Andrew because him and Nathan are boys, but Issa doesn't know Andrew like that. And Molly was present when Issa met Nathan, in the party lift. Later, Molly seemed ready to be set off at Issa's block party until Andrew provides perspective for her. Issa lets on that she's always the one to reach out after a fight. She wants Molly to mend fences for once. The writing for these two was always on the wall. The series' love story, I think, is really based on the friendship of these two women. The men that they're involved with are outside characters, and the women are at the center of this series story. If someone can't see your attempts to grow, then sometimes space is needed. While I do find fault with both women for how they've handled each other over the seasons, I don't think that this friendship is worth throwing away. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments, because some of y'all are really, really hating on Molly right now. But honestly, I think she's hurt, and I think when people are hurt, even when they're being selfish at times, when they're in their feelings, they see things a lot more differently than they really are, you know? And I'm sure that most of us can relate to that. When you're mad at somebody, everything they do is bad. Everything they do rubs you the wrong way. I don't think this friendship is worth throwing away, but let's see how Molly cuts up on episode 7. Who do you guys think is more wrong, Issa or Molly? And does the person who reaches out less care less about the relationship? When I think about it, I've often been the person to reach out less or never, or I'll just wait a really long time to reach out after a fight. But ultimately, I think that for me personally, when there's conflict between a friend and I'm really upset, I don't want to say anything else that's going to make it any worse. So I need space to gain perspective, to not be so hot and ready to fight about it. And so I don't think that Molly doesn't care about Issa, or that she cares any less about the friendship, but I do think she has hard feelings right now. I think maybe she felt when she was at the block party, she started to feel badly for how she was kind of downing Issa's event or ability to really put this amazing thing on. But once she saw that Issa broke that boundary that Molly had set up, I think Molly just saw red, you know. And what we know about Molly is when Molly wants to talk about something, she doesn't think about the time or place. She's like a bull in a china shop and will just attack. And we've seen that before. We saw that earlier in the season when she arrives at Issa's sponsor event with Andrew, when Molly found out that Andrew was dating other people at that time. And as soon as she walked in with a stank face, Issa's like, "Are you good?" And she's like, I think I'm over Andrew. Like, let me tell you. And Issa just kind of like, I mean, okay, but can you do that thing that you always do? Because I have important things going on. I don't have time to talk to you about your relationship in this moment right now. And so as much as Issa makes off the cuff remarks, I don't think that she does it intentionally. And I don't know that Molly walks into a situation thinking everything's about me. I think she just can't help but deal with it right then, right now. So I do think after a couple of episodes of a break, we know that this next episode is going to be a all Molly episode, or at least that's what it's looking like from the previews. But I think that maybe the girls need a break. I really think that Molly needs time to see and figure out who she is in a relationship. That's a really important time for people as they enter into their 30s and they're starting to take relationships more seriously, you know. And it's really difficult sometimes when you have a group of friends or just a twosome where both are single and then one is in a relationship. If y'all not both in a relationship at the same time, it can be very difficult to balance because the person who's attempting to make a relationship work is really shifting the balance because they're trying to accommodate their new person as like their new best friend. And so I really think that Molly is trying so hard with Andrew. And I can't tell if it's because Andrew's that worth it just yet, or just because Molly, this is like the first time we're seeing her in an adult relationship, where the two appear equal. And it doesn't appear like a situation that is so, that is stacked unnecessarily against her. Because we know Molly will pick a messy situation to enter into. So maybe she just wants to make it work because she hasn't had anything that's worked. So we'll see. I think in the next episode, we'll get to see Andrew really be a good boyfriend to Molly and console her and maybe take her mind off of it. But I think in the back of her mind, she'll be thinking, what's good with Issa? Either she'll be mad at Issa still and like, I think I'm over it, or will she feel really bad for ruining the ends of Issa's huge, huge event? So we'll see. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking, maybe your next predictions. And this has been Danny with the Swim Good podcast. And I'll see you next time. Bye.